Hey, welcome back. I'm Jamie Sylvan. I'm the founder of Executive Nomad. I am the author of this book. I can find it on my desk, The Executive Nomad Operating System. So one of the main questions I've got about the framework when I'm talking to people who want to move out of corporate life into running their own show is, what can I actually offer? How do I make money? What do I do? And so I developed the Rewire, Repackage, Repurpose framework. And I just want to take you through it. In this module, I just take you through the rewire part. So very often when people are heading out from corporate into running their own show, they'll look at things like business opportunities, franchises, licensed opportunities, stuff like that. And that's fine. That all makes sense if you want a complete change from what you do. But a lot of the people that I speak to are just kind of not in the age-wise, they're not at the point that they want to do something else. They don't want to start again, which is understandable, of course. So what you've got, I want you to sort of use this as a thought exercise for you, right? Think back through your career, as far back as you want to go, about the wins, the losses, and the lessons that your career has given you through all of the clients, through all of the jobs you've had and all of that stuff. So 3 points, right? So the wins. What did you do in your business life? A project, a new operation, a new job role, some things that you did, and use a pen and paper if you need to pin this down. What did you do that was really classed as a win? And let me give you some context of why I'm asking this, right? Very often when I'm speaking to upper management and exec level people who are heading off to do their own thing, and they're concerned about this part of it, what will I actually do? How will I actually make money? Is that so often they have so many great wins in their career, but because they're wrapped up in the overall business, the job role that they've done, and they're part of a much bigger, wider thing, they don't really spot them as wins. So I'm going to give you a quick example, right? So a guy that I met, an executive in the logistics space, when we're having the conversation, which unearthed what he'd done, if he could be, he wanted to be a consultant. And I said, well, let's dive into this. And he's, well, I don't really know. I've been this guy, I've been that guy. This was my title there. That was my title there. And I said, I'm not looking for titles because titles are just that. They're just titles. What I'm looking for is something that we can actually create a business around. And you can't create a business around just a title. You just can't do it. It does have a benefit. It gives you credibility in the marketplace, but to actually get to the point where you say, I've got something to sell to the marketplace, that doesn't work. So as we kind of went into it, we got to a story where the company that he was in, the logistics company, was bought out by another company, a much bigger, larger competitor. And his role when the merge was done, when the new owner had sort of got their feet under the table, was to go back through all of the contracts that the companies had and compare them, and through the pricing, the supply deals that they had. And his job was basically to make sure that the integration was done properly in that sense. And his understanding of how one company worked and then ultimately how the other company worked, so through the merger and integration, saved the company $2 million. Now, it took quite a bit to get that story out of him. And I said, but that's exactly what you've just done, is a service that you can offer out to, first of all, to logistics companies all over the globe who are going through that mergers and acquisitions phase. Now, I don't know if that sector is busy buying at the moment, but let's assume it is. And there's mergers and acquisitions going. They can hire an M&A consultant, but what they really need is a specialist. So by rewiring his thing that he did as part of a much bigger project, you can imagine how much stuff was going on with throughout the company, but just isolating what this guy did gave us the grounding for an actual offer, something that he could offer out into the marketplace. And then I said to him, well, look, okay, so, you don't want to just you don't want to tie yourself to just offering one thing. You need 3, you need 4, you need 5 things that you can offer out into the consulting space. And so we worked on it and we found them. And they all come from stories. And this is what I want you to do, is just to think back through your career, some things that you did, which were wins, that you could then extract the experiences that you had, work out if they are still valuable and viable in today's economy, in today's sector, because that's where, if you get that, then you have the immediate framework for consulting, coaching, mentoring businesses. So that's your wins. Now I want you to flip the script a little bit. I want you to look at losses through your career. And by losses, I mean stuff that you were involved in, projects you were involved in that went horribly, horribly wrong. Cost money, cost jobs, cost reputations, cost everything. And you were involved in it. Because one of the interesting things is in the corporate world is that we tend to hide those losses. We tend to sort of, shove them under the carpet, whereas actually they're really valuable. And I'll tell you what, the easiest way to understand what I mean by this is to get my point that if you were involved in a loss, let's say it was again, we'll stick with mergers and integration. Let's say it was a merger of two businesses and it went horribly wrong because of the cultural difference was so vast that they just couldn't get together. And there's loads of, historically in corporate history, there are plenty of those stories. But you knew what was going wrong. You saw what was going wrong. You were involved in it. You've got your experience that in that story that cost $5 million or whatever it was could save somebody $5 million coming forward, because you would be able to spot pattern recognition and all that. You would be able to spot where things were going wrong or potentially going wrong. So you would be able to save a company that kind of money. You see what I mean? So their losses are just as valuable. They've got to be repackaged, which I'll take you through in the next training session. This is audio and video, by the way, so whatever you prefer. But losses are really, really valuable if they are packaged correctly. And the third one is lessons. Through your wins, through your losses, through your career, you had lessons. What lessons did you learn that could then be turned into something that you could sell out into the marketplace? Because once you've worked on your wins, your losses, and your lessons, you can rewire them. So you're not starting from scratch. You're just rewiring your corporate experience to have a value to the clients that you're going to be working with next. So that's rewire. So just give some thought while you're listening to this, while you're watching me go through this. Give some thought to your wins, your losses, and lessons. Get a piece of paper, write them down. Just learn from it. Now, if you want a hand with that, go over to executivenomad.com, and I will be tomorrow, I will be uploading a brand new app that you can plug in a few of these details, and it will help you generate some ideas. It's AI, but it's trained on my experiences and how I'm building out Executive Nomad. So exchange. So have a look at it. Wins, losses, and lessons to be rewired into something that you can offer out into the next space. In the next training, I want to take you through the next part of the stage, which is to repackage. And that's where I'm going to take the stuff that we've just spoken about, and you've written it down or you've thought it through, and we're going to actually repackage it into a service. And I'm going to tell you briefly how to do that. So you can start to really start to formulate what it will be that you are offering out into the workspace. So pop over to the next one, video and audio, as I said, and we'll see how that goes for you.